Tonight we dive into a tale of John Deere, the American farming icon, and its unexpected twist with Mexico. John Deere decided to shift some production to Mexico, sparking political and economic ripples. Mexico welcomed Deere with open arms and showcased impressive manufacturing prowess. The move was a strategic play by Mexico, leaving Deere looking slightly outmaneuvered. How did this happen? A mix of strategy, underestimation, and global economic forces. John Deere's move to Mexico wasn't a whim, it was a calculated business decision driven by multiple factors. The company, known for its iconic green tractors and agricultural machinery, had to make a tough call in the face of mounting challenges. In early 2024, Deere announced production shifts leading to layoffs in Illinois and Iowa. This decision wasn't made lightly, as it affected thousands of workers and their families. Rising U.S. operational costs and declining demand were the culprits. The economic landscape in the United States had become increasingly challenging, with high labor costs and stringent regulations. Deere reassured its commitment to U.S. manufacturing, citing a $2 billion investment in modernizing its American facilities. However, this investment couldn't offset the immediate need to cut costs and remain competitive in a global market. The message was muddled. Love for America, but also for cost savings. Deere's leadership emphasized that the move to Mexico was part of a broader strategy to ensure the company's long-term viability. Mexico offered lower labor costs and strategic advantages, such as proximity to key markets and a more favorable regulatory environment. This made it an attractive option for Deere's production needs. It wasn't just about wages, it was a broader strategy to adapt to economic changes. The move was also about positioning the company to better respond to market demands and global competition. Deere faced tough decisions as the ground beneath its wheels shifted. The company had to balance the needs of its workforce with the demands of its shareholders and the realities of the global economy. The move was about reconfiguring production in a changing landscape. Deere's leadership knew that staying stagnant was not an option if they wanted to remain a leader in the industry. The stage was set for a challenging transition. As Deere navigated this new chapter, the company hoped to emerge stronger and more resilient, ready to face the future with renewed vigor. The move to Mexico marked a significant shift, but it was a necessary step in Deere's ongoing journey to adapt and thrive in an ever-evolving world. While Deere crunched numbers, they were meticulously planning their next move. Every calculation, every spreadsheet entry was a step towards a larger goal. Mexico played a clever long game, much like a chess master anticipating every possible move. They weren't just reacting, they were strategizing for the future. Mexico built up manufacturing capabilities, investing heavily in technology and innovation. Their factories became state-of-the-art, filled with robots and skilled workers. Investing in infrastructure and workforce was key. Roads, bridges, and ports were upgraded to ensure smooth logistics. The workforce was trained to meet the demands of modern manufacturing. It wasn't just about cheap labor, it was about creating a skilled, efficient workforce capable of handling advanced machinery and complex tasks. Mexico positioned itself as a global manufacturing player, attracting international companies with its advanced capabilities and strategic location. Trade agreements like USMCA provided a stable framework for commerce, ensuring that businesses could operate with confidence and predictability. Industrial parks and skilled engineers were ready to welcome companies, offering them the infrastructure and talent they needed to succeed. Mexico offered agility and responsiveness, crucial for just-in-time manufacturing. Their ability to quickly adapt to changing demands made them an attractive partner. They demonstrated an ability to ramp up production efficiently, meeting tight deadlines, and ensuring that products were delivered on time. Mexico wasn't just a cheaper option, it was a smarter one. Their investment in technology and training paid off, making them a leader in the manufacturing sector. They laid out a welcome mat with logistical advantages and workforce readiness, ensuring that companies could hit the ground running. Attracting global giants required more than a favorable exchange rate. It required a comprehensive strategy that addressed every aspect of the manufacturing process. Mexico delivered, turning Deere's cost-cutting into a showcase of industrial prowess. Their factories became a testament to what careful planning and investment could achieve. It was a classic case of being prepared and understanding the assignment. Mexico's foresight and strategic planning paid off, making them a key player in the global manufacturing landscape. Enter the 3-week miracle, where Mexican facilities exceeded Deere's expectations. Within weeks, production targets were met, quality standards achieved, and timelines smashed. It was a rapid validation of Mexico's capabilities, a manufacturing triumph. This wasn't just about cost, it was about speed and efficiency. Mexico's rapid execution sent a clear message: they were a high-performance option. This swift success became a potent example of Mexico's efficiency. It wasn't a formal race, but a demonstration of capability. Mexico's ability to integrate complex tasks with speed impressed the industry. For Mexico, it was a chance to shine and prove its investments were paying off. They set a new benchmark, leaving competitors searching for their spanners. Enter Donald Trump, threatening a 200% tariff on Deere's Mexican imports. This bold move was part of his broader strategy to bring manufacturing back to American soil. Trump's rhetoric was fiery and unyielding, aimed directly at companies like John Deere that had shifted some of their production to Mexico. He argued that these companies were undermining American workers and the economy by outsourcing jobs. The 200% tariff was not just a number, it was a declaration of economic war, a signal that the days of freewheeling globalization were over. This wasn't just a tariff, it was economic warfare. The stakes were incredibly high and the implications were far-reaching. For many, it was a necessary step to protect American jobs and industries that had been eroded over decades. The manufacturing sector in particular had been hit hard by globalization, with many factories closing down and moving overseas. Trump's move was seen as a way to reverse this trend and bring back the glory days of American manufacturing. Trump's move aimed to protect American jobs, appealing to manufacturing states. These states had been the backbone of American industry, and their decline had left many communities struggling. By imposing such a hefty tariff, Trump hoped to incentivize companies to keep their production within the United States. This was a message that resonated deeply with his base, particularly in the Rust Belt states that had been devastated by factory closures and job losses. Economists warned of inflation and trade disruptions, but the political message was clear. Critics argued that such tariffs could lead to higher prices for consumers and retaliatory measures from other countries. However, for Trump and his supporters, the potential economic risks were worth it if it meant revitalizing American industry and securing jobs for American workers. The political message was unambiguous: America first, make it in America or face punitive tariffs. This was the ultimatum given to companies like John Deere. The administration's stance was clear: if you want to sell in the American market, you need to produce in America. This policy was designed to create a more level playing field for American workers and businesses, who had long felt disadvantaged by international competition. For Deere, this was an unwelcome complication in an already challenging landscape. The company was already dealing with declining demand and rising costs, and the threat of a 200% tariff added another layer of uncertainty. Moving production back to the United States would be a costly and complex process, and the company had to weigh the potential benefits against the significant financial and logistical challenges. They faced declining demand, rising costs, and now, a potential trade war. The agricultural sector, which relied heavily on John Deere's machinery, was also watching closely. Farmers were concerned about the potential increase in equipment costs and the broader economic impact of a trade war. The uncertainty was palpable, and everyone was waiting to see how Deere would respond. The cost-benefit analysis of moving to Mexico had a giant question mark. While moving production to Mexico had initially seemed like a cost-saving measure, the potential tariffs made it a much riskier proposition. The company had to consider whether the savings from lower labor costs would be outweighed by the punitive tariffs and the potential backlash from American consumers and politicians. Would Deere call Trump's bluff or reconsider their plans? The company's leadership was in a difficult position, trying to navigate the complex and rapidly changing political and economic landscape. They had to decide whether to stand their ground and risk the tariffs, or to bring production back to the United States and face the associated costs and challenges. The agricultural world watched, waiting to see who would blink first. Farmers, economists, and industry experts were all closely monitoring the situation, aware that the outcome would have significant implications for the agricultural sector and the broader economy. The stakes were incredibly high, and the tension was palpable. It was a high-stakes game of chicken, with significant implications. The outcome of this standoff would not only affect John Deere and its workers but also set a precedent for how other companies might respond to similar threats. The world was watching, and the pressure was on for both sides to make their move. Trump's tariff threat sent Deere's stock into a wobble. Shares dipped, highlighting vulnerability to political winds. Analysts questioned the seriousness of Trump's threat. Deere faced potential reputational damage among American farmers. Tariff threats injected uncertainty, complicating long-term planning. Deere had to consider geopolitical risks alongside manufacturing costs. The Mexican gambit suddenly seemed riskier in a volatile market. Deere's Q1 2025 results were grim, with sales plunging 35%. Profits nosedived, adding to the company's woes. Deere attributed the slump to reduced production and inventory management. Despite the downturn, Deere projected optimism for the fiscal year. They emphasized their commitment to U.S. manufacturing. The Q1 results couldn't be divorced from the Mexican expansion and tariff uncertainties. Trade tensions created a challenging backdrop for Deere. The company grappled with falling demand and political interference. It was a tough ride for Deere in a complex global landscape. The Q1 numbers painted a picture of a company under pressure. Deere faced multiple challenges in a rapidly changing world. While Deere struggled, Mexico showcased its manufacturing prowess. Deere's expansion was a vote of confidence in Mexico's ecosystem. Mexico's economic benefits included job creation and technology transfer. The success was a result of strategic planning and investment. Mexico positioned itself as a reliable partner for global manufacturing. Deere's expansion attracted further interest from multinational corporations. Mexico leveraged its geographical advantage in trade agreements. They presented a compelling business case, turning global shifts to their advantage. Who won the Great Tractor Tussle? It's complicated. Mexico emerged as a winner, boosting its economy and manufacturing status. Deere's position is ambiguous, balancing cost savings with political risks. American workers faced painful job losses, highlighting globalization's human cost. The political rhetoric of bringing jobs back resonated deeply. This saga reflects broader challenges in U.S. manufacturing and global trade. It's about cost pressures, emerging hubs, and political intervention. No easy answers exist. Every decision creates ripples. Deere's story isn't just about tractors, it's about the future of manufacturing. It's a complex field, far beyond any single machine's capabilities.